Oh man, good morning, y'all. Good morning to the world. Good morning to the ENS community. Good morning to the crypto community. Good morning to the ladies. Good morning to the gentlemen. Good morning to the boys, and good morning to the girls. Good morning to everybody, right? This is going to be what we call a very special space because we have a very special guest that's joining us today. One of my favorite people in the NFT space on NFT Twitter, I should say at least. Um, but before we get into all that good stuff, all the mumbo jumbo, this, that, and the third, just want to do some recaps of the week. At least from yesterday, we had OpenSea. Shout out to OpenSea. I seen a lot of people bashing them, saying uh, reported stolen or whatever people were talking about. I don't even know what people half of y'all be talking about sometimes, man. But listen, OpenSea buying their domain name is absolutely phenomenal for the space, absolutely phenomenal for where we're trying to go, and we can't deny that, right? This is a conglomerate in the in the not the ENS industry, but the NFT industry and the Web3 world in itself. So for them to see the value in that, for them to open up their pockets, $165,000 is nothing to OpenSea, right? But regardless of the fact is they open up their pockets and they acquire their domain name, especially as .eth is becoming a lot more popular. It's getting a lot more popular. So shout out to OpenSea for doing that. I think we'll see a lot of other exchanges and marketplaces and Web3 companies first begin to follow the trend and begin to do that. And then it'll move on to Web2 companies from there, in my personal opinion. Now, after OpenSea, I want to bring some light to NFTs.com domain was sold for $15 million. That is absolutely phenomenal, right? That is big news for what we're talking about. That is big news for where this space is going, and that's a big sell. $15 million is not pocket change by no means. Maybe for certain extremely wealthy individuals, but to the average person, that is a lot of money, right? So for that deal to get sold for that amount of money, it shows that people are valuing the word NFT. People are valuing for search engine purposes. It is a .com, but for search engine purposes, you're that whoever brought that's gonna do just fine, especially in the years and months to come. But that's enough talking from me. I do want to pass it over to our co-host, Master, and we'll go from there. Good morning, Master. How you doing, man?
Hey, good morning, guys. I think today we see some very good news. OpenSea.is got acquired, and later, someone just checked the wallet and found out it's an official wallet from OpenSea, which is a super, super, super bullish signal. We know that, I just pinned one of my today's Twitter up. So we know that OpenSea, what they did in the past is they kept delisting all those brand names, but eventually they ended up buying their own name on their own platform. And this is very hilarious, and because they know this is probably the only way they can take the ownership of the domain. There is no other way they can get it from any legal ways. They know it, but afraid of all the all the legal matters, or the law constraints, that they have to delete those names because they are still kind of a centralized entity, and they are still some web 2 product at this moment. So sooner or later, I believe there will be some smarter, or some more decentralized spirit of the the domain trademark, the domain trading platforms. But right now, this OpenSea's behavior is just proved ENS is purely decentralized. They just proved, even them, some very bad guy who keeps delisting the names, who even have to buy the domain in this way. Then what other, what they can do for the other of the, those brand owners? That doesn't make sense, right? You can keep getting a lawyer on board, but eventually you have no other choice but to buy it yourself. So I think it's a super bullish signal as of today, and I think moving forward there'll be more and more brands willing to bid or accept offers from these previous owners, because there is a I mean, we have to go through the whole roadmap from at the beginning. Who are you, and then know details about you, and from hate you to maybe know you are a good man, then fall in love with you. This is a very long process we will have to go through. But at today, we are so glad that OpenSea get on board, and also congratulations to that owner, a previous owner of OpenSea, because checked the record, and the guy bought the name for $2,000 on the day one premium when the previous owner got expired, and he kind of dropped catch by 2 years ago. So I think this was a great investment from him, and it ended up perfectly. So yeah, another thing I see today is there's another country name got sold. Greece dot East got bought for 20 East. So I think right now all the geography names will be very valuable, because name wrapper is going to be there by end of August if everything going on fine. Because after that, it is not because we own the country name, we must do some business with it. We must sell subdomain to it, and because of that, we will get rich, or we will be very the domain will make it very profitable. That's not the case, but that will add value to the root name at first place, and someone who has an idea, some company, some project, some team will have better idea regarding how to put a smart contract. And right now it's not to set up a new smart contract. They just need to leverage whatever the name wrapper has, and as a standard, putting their own customization, and it's just there. It's not complicated at all. So it would be very beneficial to all the project, all the potential new Web3 projects, for all the projects that he cherish his users and give willing to give them their own crypto ID, and maybe subdomain is a great choice. Like for Japan, all the Japanese, if you are building something national in Japan, then it will make all the sense. And for Greece, it's also the case. So I see, these collection, the country collection will be very rare, because there are only like hundreds of the countries. Although 99 and 10K, they are also great, but they are just we are just shooting on different range of peoples. So I believe every day we will unlock some new feature, we will unlock some new functionality, and a lot of new potential for ENS. Every day will be a gift. Every news will be great news. So thank you so much, and I look forward to hear more from you. But today I apologize, I won't be able to stand very long, because I have a very early meeting tomorrow to attend. But I'm very grateful and happy to be with you guys, especially with you, Kev, every single day, to see you hosting this. Yeah, I wish I will be able to attend this, space on daily basis till I sell some of the at least seven figure names, till that day. I'm more than happy to see that happening. Thanks so much.
Master's hilarious. Master's like, y'all right, y'all. I'm gonna hang out with y'all too. I make a bag off of my names and then I'm gone. I don't blame you, Master. Once I sell a seven-figure name, I probably won't be doing this anymore either. So we're on the same boat there, brother.
Yeah, you will. You won't be able to get away from us. You'll be on your. The only thing that's going to change, 5159. The only thing that's going to change is that you're going to be doing this from the beach with a margarita, and you're going to have an umbrella over your head and an umbrella in your drink, and you're going to be on Twitter Spaces.
yeah,
You're going to have seagulls in the background.
you know what, Gary? That sounds like the dream, man. That really does sound
That's
like
what I'm saying.
that does sound like the dream, man. To be on an island somewhere and just hosting Twitter Spaces with all you could drink, man. That's a dream. That's a dream I'm trying to manifest. NFT verse. Good morning, brother. How you doing, man?
Hey, GM, can everybody hear me? Just want to make sure everybody can hear me.
Yes, sir.
GM, Kev, GM to the host, man. 5159 as always. Thank you for staying consistent. Thank you for
Thank you.
all yeah, always being here, man. We appreciate it. Master, thank you for the knowledge. I see Gary's up here. NYC, man. We got a special guest, man. That's awesome. Thanks to the community. Thanks to the community for showing up today. Make sure you guys retweet out the space. Let's get some people in here, man, who want some questions answered and need to hear what's going on. Master, I like the fact that you might kind of bow out gracefully at some point in time because you've been waiting for 5 years. This has been a long run for you. So seven figures, man. This time that cash that 401k in, man. Cash that dot ETH in, man. I feel you. So I totally agree with you on that. Just to kind of touch on some of the open sea. So the open sea, purchasing, their Web3 identity. Um, when the marketplace, let me just say this, when the largest marketplace acquires their Web3 identity, that's going to open doors. That's a door opener. Just to kind of throw that out there to everybody. With NFTs.com selling for 15 million. Now, the one thing that the NFT.com team probably knows is that with ENS, they can move over to they can use their DNS, to move over to ENS and utilize that in the ENS world, right? But the one thing that they're going to want to also capture when they move over to that is the true branding identity. So I would think at some point in time they're going to acquire NFTs.E2, from a branding perspective in Web3. That's just my thought, in my opinion, that I believe that'll happen. I think it's inevitable for it to happen, for them to own both of those if they're smart about branding, right? The .com is going to be there because, like I said before, Web 2 and Web 3 have to exist, and they have to run parallel for a certain amount of time. There's a time frame that has to happen, that these things have to run parallel until the use cases begin to appear, and until the masses start to understand that there's a easier user interface that can be used, similar to kind of how Web 2 started off. As that starts to occur, then you'll start to see the migration happen over to Web 3. But Web 2 will always be there for a substantial amount of time until that starts to happen. I look forward to the discussion today. Thank you, everybody, for showing up. Kev, man, I appreciate it again, man. Thanks a lot.
Appreciate you, man. You've been just as consistent as me. I think you probably been here every day that I've been here, man. So shout out to you for that. We'll go to Gary, and then we'll go to our special guest right after that. So good morning, Gary. How are you, man?
Hey everybody! No, I'm super excited just about just constant movement. I mean, there's a lot of data with ENS, a lot of different types of sales and different numbers going up, and at a high level, it's really showing where this project is, where this project has come from, where this project is going. Uh, but then we have some of these like sort of big moves like we have with Japan, like we have with Greece, like we have with Open Sale. Master, you have a tweet of the year up there with OpenSea not letting other companies buy their names sometimes, but then them buying their own name off their own platform because they know that's the only way that they can get it. And we just see, it just helps me to see the direction and how we're moving forward. It's palpable to see not just the sales, but the development and the adding on across the board. Let it be projects like MYC, or let it be projects like the .earth project. We have the official subdomain wrapper coming out, and just to recenter myself, like I like to think, I like to remember why I'm here, and it's not that I'm here for cheap or fast transactions. I'm here for this revolutionary, immutable, publicly verifiable, collaborative, open and borderless, resistant to censorship, and decentralized blockchain systems, these protocols, which we are the owners of, which we're the controllers of, that anyone who uses it, who pays attention to it, who has ENS tokens, who's a part of these conversations, every single one of us is contributing to this technology. And it's so exciting to be part of this myself, and to be part with all of you, because this is it. It's really happening. And for the first time ever, we own our identities, and we can control what data is connected to those identities. And when we log into websites, we're going to be defining, who we are with our names and our data fields. And we're going to be able to hold that consistency across, all of Web3. So yeah, just, keep on being smart. Don't over leverage yourself on, names or tokens. But definitely keep on learning about the technology, and keep on encouraging Web 2 and Web 3 projects to go to login.xyz and to learn more about signing with Ethereum and to sign in with Ethereum, Twitter and a login.xyz website so they can get signed with Ethereum and Web3 enabled on their website. And then with that, they get, the cool ENS names with it too. So super great data points this week.
Agreed. PV 5905. You had a question, bro? And by the
Yeah,
way,
man.
Gary for
I
that.
just
Go ahead, PV.
Sorry about that, man. I just have a good question. Somebody told me about this ENS little things, and what do you guys think about the number twos in front of the names? What about those domains? Can you guys? Might be you guys. What do you guys think about that? Is that a good thing or good or not?
Wait, think about what?
To put a number two in front of names,
Like what?
like to Peter, to Justin, to Jacob, things like that. Like for ENS dot or to Peter dot E.
I think it's cool. I think it's personally maybe a little limited, right? If you're doing two Peter, I mean, would Peter be your only target market? The Peters of the world, right? So I don't know. I think it's cool concept. I get it. You could make some pretty cool subdomain concepts behind it. So maybe you get the most popular or the most common names in the world, and you just well those. Then I think you increase your chances of getting a big sell or whatever your strategy is. Maybe a sell is not your strategy, but I like the concept, but maybe it might be limited if you don't have a very common name. Go ahead, NFT verse.
Yeah, I agree with that. 5159. I think it's a little bit limited. I don't know how wide range that would be as far as but it depends on kind of what you want to do with it. If you're doing a subdomain, if you're saying to Peter, for example, maybe a subdomain is send to Peter, send dot to Peter dot ETH. Maybe that's a transaction, domain that Peter wants to utilize for to send money to, or, gift dot to Peter. Maybe he wants, anybody who wants to gift him something to that particular address. So there's ways that you could do around. I just think that, you got to think about all the words that you can use as a subdomain, as a prefix, in order to truly market that style of parent domain.
All right, thank you guys. That was very helpful, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you, PV. And man, time for I invited a special guest with us today, 006 000 in Arabic, however you want to refer him as. But this dude, when I see someone with conviction, this is the definition of what that is to me. So I just wanted to kind of have and basically really just an open conversation with him, and it's recorded and the community could come up and ask questions. So with that being said, 006, if you kind of want to introduce yourself and your background a little bit, we'll start off with that, man.
Sure. Hey guys, hey, thank you very much for inviting me. I'm honestly quite excited. 5159, honestly, you run a really great space. And it's not just informative and
Thank you, man.
educational. Dude, like it's fun, man. Like honestly, like I listen to your spaces sometimes. It's 11 p.m. here, so it's late at night for me. And my wife would be like asking me, hey, come to bed, what are you doing with these ENS guys? Like you're just turning into a full like crypto like weirdo, right? But like I really like your space 5159, and the people in here are really cool. So just want to say like I think I'll have a lot of fun. Yeah, and you guys are really so consistent and you do so much for the community. So kudos to you, kudos to the audience, and just I'm really appreciative for you having me on board. Yeah, so like um yeah, I'm just a regular guy. Like I actually do my own business and I run my own small family fund. Yeah, and I just fell down the crypto rabbit hole like 2017, and basically only got into NFTs like last year. Like, and when the whole 999 thing like kind of blew up, went crazy. Like I saw it and I started like I jumped in. Like honestly, little bit later, but it was very obvious to me at that point that hey, there's that these things are going to be clearly rare, like provably rare numbers. And this ENS technology is not simply just a domain technology, but it's a social connection or a social technology. So I was looking at it, I was like, that's really interesting. And I showed it to an alpha group that I have that I'm part of. Like it's just a group chat, and these guys will like, you know, yell out like random mints or like, check this out, this Fidenza, like Bored Ape, whatever have you. And they're like kind of whales. Like they have like one guy has like three or four like Bored Apes or five, I don't know how many, like in a few Fidenzas. And like I said, like, hey, check out like this 999, this .eth, this ENS thing, right? And like immediately I was shut down. It was crazy. Like they shut me down and they were like, basically I got ratioed in the group. And I was like, oh man, that didn't feel good because you kind of like look up to these guys. These guys have been OGs in the crew. They held like a board ape from the beginning. But like, and I, you know, and maybe that's a little bit me. Like I decided like, look, I want to go and do some research on this thing. Let me think carefully, right? Like I know like on the side of resistance sometimes and on the side of misunderstanding there's opportunity, right? When everybody understands it, honestly there's no more opportunity. So I decided to take a look and I went, wow, this is pretty interesting, right? Like this is actually self-sovereign identity. And that's what I got into like NFTs for. I thought this was going to be like the expression of ourselves. But frankly, when I look at an NFT, just say a Bored Ape, I have a Bored Ape. I have a couple of Moonbirds, I have a Zukis. So I want to say to everyone here, don't get your knickers in a twist. I love all of the NFT like projects. But frankly, like I don't see them as my identity. I see them more as a momentary expression. And what do I mean by that? Maybe like if today I decide I want to wear Louis Vuitton, right? Then is that me? No, it's not. It's just who I express myself to be at the moment. But who am I is NYC, right? That my credit card says NYC, my passport says NYC. So I recognize that, hey, these guys are kind of just buying clothes and I'm going to be buying identity. And I felt like, what is more important than identity? Like, if like the government decided to wipe out my identity, like I could be a billionaire, right? But like if they wipe my identity out, that's it. So, what is more important than identity? There is nothing more important than identity. So, yeah, just a quick kind of a short rejoinder. I hope that made sense.
Nah, that makes a lot of sense, and Master kind of touches on the same message a lot of the times about identity, and you could change your PFP, right? You could change your PS. I kind of look at it like this, right? You could change your PFP a lot of the times, but if you change your name in this space, a lot of people it'll be a hard time. When I changed my name from 5159, I try to rock 0031, it just wasn't the same. Everybody was like, man, you need to change back to 5159 because it became an identity, right? So it's probably one of the four digits that I probably won't sell unless a very juicy offer comes in. But I think that's a real good point that you make, 006. So and by the way, guys, this is an open forum for the entire community. So if you have a question, comments, thoughts, anxieties, frustrations, whatever it is, please feel free to request on stage, and we'll bring you up here to hear that out as well. But you know, okay, so go ahead, NFT verse.
No, I think NYC touches on something very important that sometimes that we may not zoom out enough to understand is that when he talked about ID and how important the identity is, we think about any type of shift that happens, in the economy or in the world, when we start to move forward and evolve. I use an example of, a checkbook, right? When people used to use checkbooks and write checks out, that checkbook identified you. You had your identity on that particular checkbook. Well, when checkbooks started kind of moving, out of scope, but they're still here. But as they moved out of scope and we tended to evolve, there became the debit cards, right? The debit cards. Guess what that debit card had on it? It had your identity on it. So every shift that occurs and as paradigm shifts happen, MIC makes a great point is that there's something that you always have to carry with you, and that's your identity. And now with ENS, you get to choose your identity. You get to choose which identity you want to utilize on a daily basis if you wanted to, or with different transactions. If I choose to use this one.eth to transact with this particular company or this particular individual, I can use that one. Or if I have a different one, and I want to ID myself with the other .eth, I can use that one if I wanted to for specific transactions or communications or emails, or that can be my website also. I can choose how I want to build my particular identity, in what facets of that identity that rolls into ENS that I want to utilize. I don't have to utilize every single one, the content, the different content sections, or the email, or build a website on it. I may only want to use two of them for a website, or I may not want to use any of them for a website, and just identity and just transactions. So I think that you make a great point, NYC. We have to definitely zoom out and understand of how you have to carry that identity with you no matter where you go, especially in this world that we live in today. So ENS provides a great versatile tool for that.
Yeah, and one thing also that stood out is, when opportunity. A lot of times people don't see opportunity until it's too late, and when everybody else jumps on it, it's no longer an opportunity for real. But let's keep moving right along, y'all. I want to move right along, and so you own two very prominent numbers, right? You own 006, which is a very respectable number in the space, and you also own 000 in the Arabic numeric system, which what I believe is the highest Arabic number sold to date. So can you talk about your conviction behind those two, right? Let's start off with 006. When did you get it? And then let's talk about why you're willing to pay the highest number to date for an Arabic digit. So yeah, let's go with that.
Sure, I'd love to. Before I start, I would just like to give a shout out to some more people on the panel, if you don't mind. Master, Hydrate, and Gary. You guys are real heroes to me. I've listened to you guys speak, and really just really amazing stuff. I just want to say thank you for all you do. I'm just really honored to be speaking with you guys today. Yeah, and so many other people in the crew. But yeah, let me just go back to 006. Actually, it started with 008. I bought I remember I was out with my boy, and I was taking him to the amusement park, and I saw this whole thing going, and I was in the aquarium, and I saw I'll just be a little bit looser today because I really know the format of this show is just more relaxed. So yeah, I was in the aquarium, and I was looking at a whale shark, right? And then I saw this whole Twitter thing going on, and it's these people are minting out these numbers, and I was like, oh man, numbers, right? And then I was like, okay, I get numbers, I like math, right? I like numbers, and it's clear to me that there's only going to be 1,000, right? So I went home, and I think it was I had to buy nice numbers, and I was like, I'm Chinese, I want to buy numbers that I know that some other Chinese guy is going to buy. I'm just gonna do that. So I bought 228, and I think I bought 822 at that point .eth, for I think 6 or 8 ETH. I can't remember honestly. And then I went online, and I started meeting friends, and it was just this whole community of these ENS guys. And I met a 008 at that point, and it was just really interesting. We were talking, and he's a hedge fund guy, and we got into this small little group chat. And then I was like, hey, this guy speaks my language, and I kind of understand his thesis. The thesis is that there's so much liquidity flooding into the system right now. And interesting thing about liquidity is that it often tries to find the best assets. Sometimes it does find speculative assets, no doubt about that. But you kind of just watch where the action goes, right? And if you kind of understand the thesis, then you pile in, right? You start with a starter position, and you start piling in. So I was not early, but I was thinking to myself, I'm definitely not late. That was what I was thinking. So I liked his number 008, and I was like, hey, that's fire, man. If I really wanted numbers, I think to kind of signal that you're cool and you're early, 001 would be the best in my view. At that point, I was thinking. And 008, I was talking to him. I was like, hey, those are really kick-ass numbers. And he was dude, 006 is for sale. And I said, serious? So I saw it, and I think it was 32 ETH, and I just bought it. I just went, screw it. And just as a word of advice to you guys, don't follow me because I'm probably like the worst trader in the whole of the universe. I've bought like the top of every freaking cycle, to be totally honest with you. But guys, generally, I do have a good record when it comes to spotting long-term trends, and I usually do quite well with those. So like, yeah, I buy the top, but end of the day, over the long term, I usually make it like quite a few X's. That's my track record, honestly. Yeah, so like for 008, I was like, sorry, 006, I was like pretty happy to buy that. Now, like I think Cipher was a totally different thing. It's I don't view it as identity. I view it as a collectible, honestly, and I view it as a receptacle of culture. Like this is the quintessential. And I know some guys gonna say like, you're crazy or like they don't believe it or whatever. But honestly, I don't give a damn. Like I'm just gonna say it today. I'm going to be a bit more like loose, like love to all, no respect, no hate, just respect to all. But honestly, I don't give a damn. I'm not gonna sell it to anyone. I'm not pumping on anyone. I bought this simply because this is gonna sound really obnoxious, but love guys, just because I can and I wanted to. I really liked it. Like the surfer to me is the receptacle of Arab culture. Like it's just amazing. Like think about it. For like 3,000 years, this is the truth, right? You can't deny this. For 3,000 years, Western powers, like Greeks, Romans, Christians alike, were all denying and trying to like debate away the concept of zero. And along comes like Al-Khwarizmi, who basically propagates the zero or the cipher. From the cipher, right? I'm just going to kind of say this is that we have cipher, which is key for cryptography, and from cryptography or cipher, it became Zefiro in Italy, and from Zefiro it became zero. So the truth is that cipher or the cipher is really why we have all of these modern day marvels. Imagine how do we code with zeros without zeros? Like there's no null values, right? Without zero, you cannot you can't represent that. So to me, it was clear. I mean, I guess people don't see it because they're just, they don't view this as a collectible. They view this as a speculative asset, and I do agree it is. But I do honestly think it's quite special, and it's very difficult to it's difficult to convey if maybe someone else doesn't get it. But end of the day, humbly, like it doesn't matter to me. It just matters that I got it. But like the backstory is that honestly, like, and maybe this is a beautiful thing. This is a beautiful story from that thing. Is that Leo came from Australia. He was like, we connected online, and it was just a really fun and just a very healthy, like like a very positive friendship. He came to Singapore. We hung out, and he told me about Surfer, and the other one 001. And at that point, to be honest, he asked me, which one do you think is better? Which one should I sell? And I told him, you should keep you should keep 001. I told him that. And I didn't really know the full history of the 000 or the Surfer at that point. So yeah, he listed 000 according to my advice. But frankly, but I love Leo, and Leo, if you're listening later, love you, bro. Like, and it is what it is. But yeah, I'm just very blessed and thankful that I got it. I know it's crazy. It sounds crazy to people, but honestly, I don't have to justify myself.
It doesn't sound crazy to me, man. I mean, in 2004, 2005, I started to get deeply fascinated with Arabic culture. And I think part of the reason that people become fascinated with it is because of the skeptics and the people that are preventing it. You talked about the denial of the zero. And I really feel like using Arabic digits or Arabic words in Web3 is another way to kind of break past all the censorship. I can't tell you how many times I've had people come at me for, like Arabic dress when all the things I received were gifts from Arabs. So it's the one culture that is actively appropriated by its members because of Islam and some of that history. Actually, I just read a hadith in Bukhari that says, a man in a two-piece garment walking down the street with his hair combed is sinking into the ground until the day of resurrection. And what it means is the Arabs through Islam had this interesting dress code of covering the head and wearing a one-piece garment, and so that's some of the reason that we see people dressing in this way. It has a deep roots, and these numbers are thousands of years old and have deep roots into the golden age of Islam and back to India. And so I just really appreciate your fascination with them and your sharing that love, the same love that I have for this culture. And it's nice with Web3, we can finally be ourselves and be confident and free and share this as part of our identities. So wonderful story. Appreciate hearing that.
Yeah, and thank you, Hydrate. You have been such a great educator. Like, I've been trying to learn like Arab, so I'll try to say this. Salamu alaikum, and yeah, just love you guys. But
Wa
I also
alaikum
want to.
salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Also want to give some props to Gary. Gary, thank you for coming on the Sunday program with Whale Shark. One of the things I've been trying to do is get ENS and the thesis of ENS overall, not just exotics, not just Arabic, but the whole kit and caboodle. I've been doing talks in different circles that may not usually be exposed to ENS. I urge all of you to do so. Gary's been joining me every Sunday to talk about some of the mechanics of ENS. And we have a really big opportunity coming up this Sunday, 9 a.m. Eastern. If anyone has input or things that you suggest we talk about, all things ENS, please do contact me.
Love that, y'all. Love that. One quick point here. I think you guys make phenomenal points, and man, way to kind of get 000 from Leo. He's asking which one should I list, and you were plotting on it the whole time, man. So congrats on that. NFT verse, go ahead, brother.
Kev, you just kind of said what I was going to say. The thing, the summary of NYC's story is that he tricked Leo. That's what I got out of that whole entire story. I'm just kidding, NYC. But no, you make some great points when you talk about the historical context. So basically, by you getting those digits, you were passionate about the history that was behind those, right? And I think that that's kind of what this space is all about, is that we're going to be drawn to certain things. We're going to be drawn to certain, identities, and they're going to mean something to a lot of people out there as they start to, come on this journey, this ENS journey with us. They're going to mean something. So, there's somebody out there with a ENS domain that may think they feel like they'll never sell it, but it could be something close to what somebody's out there looking for. And you may get an offer on it someday, but there's no promises in this space. But that's the way I feel about it. And just kind of to touch on the context about the historical piece, and incorporating the different languages with the digits and everything like that. I think it opens up a door for everybody to learn about other cultures. I think that that's an important piece about it. When you see all the groups out there and everything on ENS Vision that they're providing, it brings conversation to the table. It brings people asking questions. Well, what does this mean? And what does that mean? And I think that we all have a responsibility when you understand a specific culture to not only tell them about what it means, but give them a little bit of background and understanding, because they may feel passionate about that no matter what language it is. So I just kind of wanted to throw that out there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well said. This is so far a great panel. Guys, ladies and gentlemen, listen, if you're enjoying what these speakers are bringing to you, I want you to do two things for me, please. One, give them a follow, because by following these guys, you're probably going to get some major alpha, and you probably could learn a thing or two, right? That's step number one. Step number two, if you value what is being said here and you think more people should hear it as well, don't be stingy with the knowledge. Go ahead and give this space a retweet. That'll be very much appreciated. And we'll keep the show moving right along to smartglasses.eth, your portal to the metaverse. I love that. Me being a marketer, I love that headline. Portal to the metaverse. What's up, bro?
Hey, thanks, guys. It's actually e-money. This is just an account which I've started up to kind of follow my kind of passion, really. I'm just mad about augmented reality. So I'm not going to go on about this too much. But what I did want to mention is I just saw a tweet by Gary, and it was the NFTs.com sale for 15 million, which is just blown my mind, really, because the way that I see this is this NFTs are a Web3 native technology, right? But yet it's sold for $15 million on a Web2 domain, which is just crazy to me. So you just got to imagine like how many Web3 native .eth names are there out there, whose value has just kind of mooned. It's not even kind of been mentioned, really. I mean, this is new news to me, but that's the way I see it. If you hold a Web3 native tech name on the dominant Web3 naming system, which is .eth naming system, then wow, that is just amazing. So yeah, anybody out there who's holding one of them is just made it. I'd just like to hear what everybody else's kind of opinion is on like the kind of convergence of Web3 tech on Web2 naming systems. It's does anybody else kind of agree? Is it too early to kind of?
I think it onboards
a name
it onboards not just.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Sorry, yeah, I think I was working on there a little bit. Yeah, I was going to say it not only does it like onboard all these people into Web3 and ENS, but it onboards all these Web2 people into NFTs and by extension ENS. So I think this .com sale lifts everybody everywhere and leads all of the energetic flow sort of to ENS names, especially when we launch, the .earth project, and you have like, traditional PFP NFTs that are inextricably tied to human readable identities, so that every PFP is going to have, and there's a lot of possibility. Yeah, but the sale of the name, you have all these Web2 people seeing, wow, this is the second largest sale in the past 5 years of a .com name. It has to do, and the first was Voice, and that was bought by EOS, right? Because they got like a couple $1 billion. They're a crypto company. Then NFTS obviously is being bought by either a Web2 company getting into crypto or a Web3 company expanding into crypto. And what are they going to do with that? They're not going to use it to market to just, Web3 people. They're going to use it to market to Web2 people. And so it just brings more people into what is Web2, what is this, what is that, and Web3. And it's inextricably like everything that we're doing on Ethereum and NFTs. When you look at what is the naming standard, what is the domain name blockchain, it's ENS. And then what the next step that, because there's always so much to talk about, the next step that blows people's minds is that NFTS.com can be its own ENS name. And so, all roads lead to Web3. All roads in Web3 connect through Ethereum, the city of Ethereum. And then all the addresses in Ethereum are made with ENS. And so I just see this as red pilling non-crypto people into crypto. It's red pilling .com domainers into crypto, and it's cryptoing. It's red pilling people that are already into crypto, and it's like it's like opium. They're like, oh my god, this is amazing. What's going to happen from this? And then all of those things are then going to circle back into ENS names and blockchain naming and Web3 naming and Web3 domains.
Yeah, I like that. I like the city of Ethereum. That I just had an image flash in my mind then. This kind of super smart city in Dubai with kind of the ethereal kind of color scheme that Ethereum has. Yeah, and it's what I don't know if anyone else has seen that the plans which have just kind of been not announced, but there's some smart city being built in or some plans, or there's a project kind of being discussed in Dubai, which looks really interesting. So it just it reminds me that the city with Ethereum, good one. I love it.
Hey, yeah, I actually seen that, and man, I don't know if you're talking about the line. Is the city that they said that they're building, which is going to be like a super smart city within.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, bro, I would be one of the first people to move there the second that thing opens up because I'm that much of a futurist and an enthusiast of the future. But 1289, go ahead, brother.
Hey guys, nice to hear you. I just wanted to comment on that with regards to the Web2 industry. I've been touching on this niche of Web3 for a while with regards to buying Web2 compatible or defining words. So I feel like going forward, it won't be as parallel as we think. Probably they will breach over at some point. Might take a while though, but yeah, this is great news because more eyes are onto the Web3 space, and hopefully the Web2 domainers will not be as shy as they have been thus far, and they will make the leap. Let's see.
I think they are making the leap. They just don't want to talk about it because it's basically like, how a Bitcoiner doesn't want to tell you that they're using Ethereum? Well, a .com domainer doesn't want to tell their friends that they're buying ENS names. They're secretly all doing it. Some of them kind of, admit it, but they always do it. They always say .com is king, but they know that there's value in some of these pickups. In terms of percentages, sure, there might be one or two of them that like are refusing and are dragging their heels, but I'm in a lot of these rooms in Clubhouse with these traditional like ICANN folk, and they know about ENS. They love ENS. They just don't talk about it a lot because it is like on the outskirts of their primary industry, which is ICANN.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I totally get that. Who wouldn't kind of protect their own bags? You would hope for a kind of a smooth transition. So the longer it takes for the transition to ETH for the existing kind of people who've invested heavily in .com, the better. So it's like any business. They just won't even speak the words until they're comfortable, until they've kind of secured an investment for themselves, and then they can start to promote, their interests. Then obviously it's they're going to keep stum, aren't they?
yeah, I do want to say this real quick. A wealthy man once said, "See where the world is going and get there first. Invest in there first." So I do think smart glasses, brother. If you're patient, that could be one that is extremely great with all the AR tech and VR glasses that's coming in the years to come. Right? It might not be extremely valuable today in current markets, but maybe 3-4 years, who knows how much that thing is worth. Um, so I love that name. But let's go to Crypto Reporter, and then I kind of want to refresh the room and circle back to 006 real quick. So, Crypto Reporter, the stage is yours, man.
Hey, good morning, everybody. GM Kev, Master, NFTverse. Shout out Gary. Gary, I gotta send you an email. Shout out ENS Vision. I gotta send you an email as well, man. God, I got a lot of emails to send out, but that's besides the point. I wanted to actually touch base on what Gary was saying because it was actually quite recently, I want to say a couple of days ago, that I was able to hop on one of the Clubhouse spaces for regular domains. And so I was able to actually pitch my idea to, you guys know, Rich Schwartz, the domain king. And when I did the pitch and he looked at the website and stuff like that, he was like, well, you actually scared the shit out of me because I saw that you had a .eth. And so I know he knows about the concept and has had like a couple, tussles with people in the group, but I had to, kind of explain to him that, hey, look, honestly, where we got our thesis from was some of your early writings. You know, like some of the things you were saying in there, at least that's what really inspired me to kind of go down this path and figure out what is a domain. But one of the things that is going to really separate the two is the fact that these aren't just domains anymore, right? Or maybe it was the thought process of domainers early on, which is like, okay, this is a domain, but it's also a brand, but it's also like we've started to realize that you yourself can become a brand. You yourself, your identity, your personality, whatever you have, that is, it's more than just a domain, you know and especially with these things, oh my god, they have so much more power, so much more utility. So it's crazy to see how fast people will hop on this train. And real quick, back to the clubhouse meeting, I know that they're going to be having their I think it's called like NameCon. It's going to be happening sometime in the fall. They are actually bringing on speakers from, I think it's like Handshake Domains or Handshake, and they will have a couple of people that are in NFTs speaking on the panel. So I wouldn't be surprised that just after that conference, people are going to as they have been, people are going to start looking into this area more. So I'm just really excited for what the rest of this year is about to hold because, oh my gosh, we have not seen anything yet. But I'll leave it with that.
Hey man, you could ping me when you're in those clubhouse rooms. Most of those guys know me, including Rick, and I'm always happy to back you up in clubhouse.
Beautiful. And here, let me write out this email too, because I know we still got a crypto reporter maybe reporting soon. So who knows?
Yeah, man, reported for duty. Let's do it. I'm
Yeah.
excited.
Yes, sir. Love to see it, man. Love to see it. So before we go back to let's refreshing. Let's reset this room real quick. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the ENS Update Show. We do this every Monday through Friday from about 11 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you're here, you're early. If you're here, you're blessed. If you are here, you are part of one of the greatest shows in all of Web3. So shout out to you for being here, and shout out to my co-host and my amazing panelists. But I just want to go back to 006 real quick, man. So we see your conviction clearly, right? And just shows. I'll get to you shortly, brother. We see your conviction here clearly. You got 006. You got you have hard conviction in Arabic digits. Where do you see this space, in your opinion, going in the next 3 to 5 years? I would say a little midterm outlook.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so like maybe I'll start with 006. At a time, to be frank with you, I was buying 006 because I thought that, hey, it's a great flex, right? It's like it's 32 ETH. It's not crazy, like compared to a Bored Ape or whatever. And I can see this thing going real far. I think that like simply just because of the flex value, like so like I break it down right now like into sum of parts like valuation, right? Like if anybody like has studied like investment valuation here, I think you understand what I'm saying. So sum of parts means like the first is like flex value, right? Like let's do a comparable between like license plates and like our .eth address, right? Like so like in Singapore, like I live in Singapore, like we have like 1 million cars, right? So like right now, I think it's QB4C goes for $500,000. That's just one single digit low series, right? And four is not like a great number for like Chinese people. Like they don't like four because it sounds like death. So like basically like imagine that like just $500,000 for one single like license plate. So to me, I was like, hey, it's like brain dead, right? Like ENS is 400,000 people, like versus like 1 million cars in Singapore. So yeah, you can say that this is $200,000. It should be right over time. The second like sum of parts valuation that I would consider is next really self-sovereignty, the ability to protect my own identity and to pass it down. Like for me, like obviously like I have a boy, and like hopefully in the future I'll be able to kind of bless him, right? Like but like um, to bless him with like good things in the future. Like when hopefully in the future he'll be able to stand his own 2 feet, and he'll be able to manage his own estate. But how do I do that? Do I put it in a will? Do I go through lawyers? There's intermediaries with that. But when you have like your own self-sovereign identity, right, that cannot be disintermediated, right, that is extremely powerful. So my thesis on like wealth is a bit strange because I love history. As you guys probably know already, I read a lot of history. Um, and why are the baby boomers the richest generation in probably all of history? You know, there's one question we got to ask ourselves. And the reason why they are so rich, frankly, is because of one simple reason. Because they had no disruption to the ability for them to compound wealth. In all of history, basically there are three leveling playing grounds. I'm using a pen right now. The first is war. The second is revolution, and the third is debasement of currency. There's no other things that stop you from compounding wealth. But if you have like honestly a smart patriarch who writes down a set of principles and says like keep buying land or keep storing gold and work hard and don't spend more than you don't spend more than you earn. The truth is that you probably compound wealth right over the generations. But like families lose wealth because of these three things: war, like revolution, and debasement. So now you have this self-sovereign level like technology that basically if you like I could probably just pay like a lawyer to go like, okay, like here's $100,000 and freaking register this for like next like 100 years or 2,000 years, right? And like it would be able to contain wealth, to hold instructions, and to be able to pass down information. That's incredible. Like honestly on the blockchain. And the third, sorry to go on, maybe I'm rambling a bit. But the third thing is that really is a metaverse play. It's like I saw this in like I like technology as well. Like I think in order to look far, you need to look back. But at the same time, you need to kind of understand the dynamics of how technology is going to develop. You need to understand what's happening right now. Like the metaverse, like these social technologies, I call ENS a social technology because for one reason, I don't even consider a domain. I consider a social technology. And a social technology will enable new behaviors for Web3. So like I heard this gentleman speaking about like glasses and everything like that. Like frankly, like I don't even care about that, because the truth is that like the base is like fat protocol theory. I'm sure like a lot of people have heard about that. Like Ethereum is, the base layer. Why do you want to buy ETH? Is because you believe that most of the value will accrue to the fat protocol. Now, this is really interesting. My view is that your ENS domain, especially if it's rare, is premium, is short, is recognizable, is not too fancy, that is fat protocol theory. Basically, you're going to be able to store all of that information. It's just insane, right? Like the kind of like the ability for you to accrue value. So I'll sum it up. Basically, sum of parts kind of like valuation. The first is flex. The second is storage of like information as well as value, like through the generations. And the third is really the ability to kind of interact with the Web3 metaverse. So like you have your identity, right? And everybody is gonna be building for us. Like who cares what kind of like whether it's Sony or Apple or Samsung. Honestly, I don't care, right? We don't care. End of the day, we know that these will just be peripherals, and most of the value will accrue to your ENS or our .eth addresses. So that's my view. That's why, like, when I looked at it and I was like, wow, this sum of parts valuation is pretty damn massive. So that's why, like, I was like, yeah, even if I'm not buying like these guys, like, I'm minting in like 0.5 or 0.1 or whatever ETH, I'm like, whatever. I'm just going to go for the most premium assets. Sorry, I'll just put in one last point. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry if I'm taking too much time. But I live in Singapore and in Asia. I live in the States as well. I live in New York. Like and I've always thought about this very carefully, right? Like if you think about it, like where does the most of value accrue to property or real estate? It's always to the best. It's never to the shit. Sorry to say, like it just is. Like if you go to like New York City, Manhattan, like one street is like all the value. Same with Singapore. And the truth is that the value keeps compounding over time, just like massively compounding. So like I remember 15, 20 years ago, like people were saying like property in Hong Kong and Singapore is so crazy expensive. And like I had a friend who looked at me and said, it's going to get even more expensive. And he was right. So yeah, just as the population grows of .eth, it's going to get even crazier. So like, hang on.
I love that.
I'd like to add something to that. Singapore is Asia in so many ways, and it's so good to have a Singaporean in here talking about his perspective, his experiences with ENS. I recently got into ENS. I'm Vietnamese, and I'm from Vietnam, and it's really powerful being able to, mint all these great ENS domains, which are affiliated to Vietnamese companies. One of my friends did recently. He minted BIN at ETH. I don't know if you guys know what BIN is. It's the largest conglomerate in Vietnam. He then was a week later, a police came to his house, threatened him unless he would give over the domain to BIN, the company, because it's so powerful. Now he refused, and he disappeared a few months ago. We're trying to find out where he is. So this is
Whoa.
the power that what ENS can do. ENS is immensely powerful because no one is in the middle, right?
Wait, hold on.
BIN,
Wait, Jimmy. We got to take a step back here, brother. You said your bud minted this
BIN,
corporation. Police came to his house. Now he's
yeah.
missing.
VIN is a powerful conglomerate. If anyone knows anything about Vietnam, they know that VIN is like all the companies in America, like Amazon, Microsoft, combined into one. VIN is
Yeah. So like
owns
Vincom
everything.
and Vina, whatever, right? Yep.
Yeah, he had the VIN ENS, and so he's gone. We can't find him. We in China they do this all the time. By the way, they people disappear. Like Peng Shui or so many people. And they just disappear for months, years sometimes, and then they just show up and they have a apology note saying, "Oh, what I did was bad." That kind of thing. Have you guys heard about that before? Anyway, so this is the power that ENS can offer. Is that for the first time, a corporation doesn't have to come in our way to take power and leverage it for the people. We ourselves can do it. Now, if the police come and arrest us and force us into a place where we can't respond, that's not the fault of ENS. That's the fault of dictatorial governments. And that's the problem with Web 2, right? And, you know, Singapore, for example, it's not a democracy, it's a dictatorship by the same family that's run the country for 50 years, but they've done a good job, right? They're not going to disappear people for having certain names. So, some countries respect property rights. I hope with code is law, you have to respect code is law because Vietnam cannot change the code, right? He has to give it over, but they can't contact someone to make him change it. You know what I mean? Maybe he's gone forever. In China, we always hear these stories of like people who disagreed with a party boss in the province and they just disappear for like 3 years, and then they show up one day and they give up all their assets and they're accused of corruption. Who knows? But this is the way it works in this region, okay? But with ENS, at least we can fight that.
Wow.
Damn, and people complaining about America. It's bad
I don't
everywhere.
think you guys understand. In Thailand, there's like 4 corporations that own everything, and they all begin with the letter C. I don't know why. Central Group, CP Group, and a few others. They are so powerful, you guys can't even imagine. They own everything. They own the city of Bangkok. They own the banks. They own the telecom companies. They own construction companies. They own the property development companies. They own the port. They own everything, man. They even own the food supply chain line. I mean, for example, CP Group owns the restaurants, the places where the chickens go to, and the farms, and they export it now. So this is the same thing as in Vietnam, but all those things are in one company called Vin. It's really that powerful. But for the
Well,
first time, my friend, he just could buy Vin. He just bought Vin ETH. He's smart. No one can force him to give it over.
yeah. Well, I hope he's okay. To be honest, and maybe, yeah, man. I hope he's okay. But we'll keep it moving from there. Thank you, Jimmy, for sharing that phenomenal story. That was one for the books. And that maybe that's a wake up call to a lot of us here. Why we keep our identities private at times and we don't dox ourselves and this, that, and the third is because, right, we don't want to end up missing at any point of time because we have a super, good ENS name or anything of that nature. But yoga, the stage is yours. Then we'll go to James, and then we'll go to 1289. Let's get it.
Hey everyone, yeah, thinking about your buddy there, that's not great at all. And that's why
In Vietnam, if you type in forced disappearances, Vietnam, you'd be surprised how often it happens.
yeah, that's not the ethos of the Ethereum network nor the ENS network. And so I think we all agree with that. And, that's why a lot of us stay anonymous, but also we should also always think about multi-sig solutions. 006, you did a great job explaining it all. There was one more component, though, to your thesis you should be adding is true price discovery. So with the 4 digits, for example, I do not own one, but one at some point they retire, they expire, so then they're back on the market. With Bitcoin, the guy could die and his Bitcoin is gone forever. So maybe 4-digit ENSs should be considered money. Anyways, 006.
Sorry, was that a question?
No, I saw with your hand up. I was just.
Oh, sorry. I think that was just I pressed wrongly. Sorry about that.
Cool. No worries, man. We'll keep moving right along. I think, James Crypto and Over, the stage is yours, man.
Man, hearing that story made me realize I need to transfer these company names out of here. But even if I did so, they can still trace it back to my ass. Man, this company name might not be the move if you're offer some company that are run by mafias or dictatorship, and that shit is real. Like in China, Jack Ma, the richest person, said something that the Communist Party didn't like, and he disappeared for months too. And I hope this shit doesn't happen in USA. And if I don't show up in Kev's space, you already know what happened. Just send the government did it or some shit, man. Much love. Shout out to Kev and Master for always hosting these space.
Thank you, man. I appreciate the love, and we'll be just fine. It's 1289, then we'll go over to Just Shields.
Thank you very much, 006. The way you put it was very eloquent. I think myself, as well as a history buff, that these assets will, not all of them, but as you say, the quality ones will rise to heights that we cannot fathom at this point. My thesis is a lot of people will use these as people used to use art and fast cars, wine, and such. That's why I bought the Arabic numbers for 1971 and 1961 because they are relevant for countries in the Gulf. The Emirates got its independence in 1971. Obviously, it's not as important as the 00, but that's why I was thinking, history is quite important. And it's funny that this space really propels a lot of us to really dig into the intricacies of history. Myself, I was digging through the Dutch royal family succession line just to buy an ENS the other day. So it's funny. But yeah, on the other hand, we do need to keep ourselves anonymous because there will be some people that don't like this. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, just try to protect yourself here, right? There's a lot of bad actors sometimes in this space. So that starts as simple as getting a ledger. If you're not using a ledger, I highly recommend to use a ledger. That's step number one in protecting your assets and protecting yourself. And then there's a whole bunch of other things you could do, but we're not going to get into all that. Maybe we could get an expert to talk about that one of these days. So we'll move the show right along over to Just Shields. The stage is yours, brother.
Hey, what's up, Kev? What's up, NFT Words, Master, Gary Pal, Magnum, Yugara, and the list goes on and on. And obviously, you can't miss out on 006.ETH, man. Thank you for hosting this place. I definitely want to thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. You guys are collaborating so many different parts of the world in here, and you get to hear the mindset and the shift that's happening to the space. And, somehow a lot of individuals have great ENS domain names and they may not have the vision, and you guys here casting the vision every single day, and those individuals are now becoming more confident, not into what they hold, but also the ability for ENS to forecast the future into existence. So I just wanted to thank you from the bottom of my heart. And also I want to give a special shout out to everybody, especially like the 5159 and the NFT worst. These guys have their own spaces, and I just want to say that, dude, you guys have such a legendary act, for you guys to be going around and supporting other spaces as well. So it's kind of very important to for me to share that, because I see you guys coming in and still giving nuggets. I know you have your spaces, but you go outside of your spaces to support one another, and that's just a total visionary move. Especially Gary Palmer Jr. as well. I'm always seeing him in different spaces, and it's just pure awesome to see him coming in. And actually, I have to say this as well, because Gary Palmer Jr. was one of the spaces where I was, and he actually did a live demo just to see whatever question was asked, if that's how it really works or not. So that kind of shows the brilliance of the individuals in a ENS update spaces that you actually get to meet one on one, which is not possible if you were working in a different type of environment or in a Web2 world. I do want to add something that I felt was really, really important. It was a really good kick. Um, and I believe it was by Crypto Radio. I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see. I'm just going to click on his name. Crypto Reporter. I'm sorry. By Crypto Reporter. He was talking about how he had a meeting, and so this is what I feel, right? This is so bring adding more light to it. I feel like, how we had like the old phones before, right? And then you got to press in the numbers, and then all of a sudden the next series was, now you have a phone in your house, and now you have to make the whatever digit you have to press, you got to make it go around. So if you have to do one, and then you go all the way, and then you come back, right? And then all of a sudden you get these flip phones, and then you get these smart devices, which is your iPhones and your Samsungs, right? And then all of a sudden these smart devices somehow have the ability to incorporate apps, and now you're doing so much from it. I feel like this is the transition that we're going through, which is the Web 2.0. So, whatever spectrum I share, just pick any device of the phone. And then just remember, those who do not move on to Web 3. So, for example, some very big companies did not go to iPhones, right? Like, let's say, for example, I don't want to say any ISP provider name, but that one ISP company was the first one to jump on the iPhones, and they had a 2-year contract that the only way people can get iPhones is through them, and they capitalized on it. But in small nutshell, what I really want to say is that regardless of what frequency of phone spectrum you are, if you're not going to stay up to date with the technology, going from Web 2.0 to Web 3.0, Web 3.0 is basically the smart devices that we have today, comparison to .coms, or compared to like the regular phone or smartphone, iPhone or Android, compared to what we used to have. So if you can somehow understand that, and I'm sure someone else can explain it much better, uh, the important part is the thought, right? And the NFT verse makes you feel like when you're in his sessions in the NFT verse, the evening session he makes you see things that's into the future, but he can actually make you feel like you're in it right now. So I feel like, the Web3 is something that he's actually already doing it. We just need to add more people to his space so they can understand exactly what exactly is, especially for those, I've come across a lot of people, even on the spaces, where they say that, hey man, I tried to tell someone and he just didn't get it. It's okay if they didn't get it. You know what you really need to do? You need to redirect them to the source, because it's very much likely that you may not have much of a caliber in front of them. They maybe underestimated you. So why don't you get them to the source? The source is where you find the legends in the room. ENS Updates is a great place to enter the new legends in the room. Even it doesn't really matter how much they know. If someone's willing to learn and grow and adapt, these are the spaces you want to bring them into. So this way they get to hear it from the source, because maybe there are a few things that you're not saying it correctly, or you're not structuring it correctly, or somewhere you're getting lost with them. And so I feel like, if you know any leaders and want to learn, or if you feel like there are some people that want to create value, then, sometimes it's important to not to take the credit and just give it to the legends, because at the end of the day, it's all about everybody moving forward. Together we grow, and together we'll make a big impact in the most positive way. So thank you guys for having me. It's just a pure humble experience for me to be here surrounded by the legends. And whoever's here, man, you're absolutely surrounded by the legends. And there's no way, if you do everything right, if you move in the positive direction, if you plan and do the right things strategically, man, there are a lot of people here to support you, and I'm just one of them. So I just wanted to say that. So thank you guys for hosting this place.
Thank you, Just Shells. Thank you for the kind words. Very much appreciate all the kind words you guys say to me on a day-to-day basis. You guys say to this panel on a day-to-day basis. I'm very grateful for that, right? I'm very grateful for this community coming together, supporting this show. That you guys is what makes this show the number one show in all of Twitter, right? In all of Twitter. We're not even talking about Web3 anymore. We're talking about all of Twitter right now. And that's where my mindset is, and that's where we're going, because we have the community to do it. We're going for the number one spot on Twitter, y'all. But guys, it is a special day. It's I'm have to celebrate a birthday. It's not my birthday. I'm celebrating a birthday, so I'm gonna probably call this one a day. But any final words from our co-hosts, from our speakers? Any final words from y'all? And then we'll probably call this one a day from there. We'll start with Master or the NFT verse, and then we'll kind of just go from there.
Man, with some of the stories shared today, I feel like I need to tell you guys I love you. Before I end my spaces, man, there's a lot going on about out here behind the scenes, man. I tell you, goodness gosh. But I just want to tell everybody, thank you for tapping in this morning. Thank you for joining the space. Like Kev said, it's the best place to be at 11 about ENS and kind of for
Yo,
this.
again.
I'm rugging, Kev.
And now you back.
Oh, well, that's why I meant a rug doctor, because I'm going to fix all of this stuff. Anyway, Kev, I'm good, man. Everybody have a great day.
Love it.
Hey guys, I wish you guys have a great day too. But one final word for today, right after I acquired Japan.ease yesterday, I think I received more than 50 DMs from new people. Some are congratulations, but most are trying to sell their names to me, and unfortunately, I'm the ones that I only am interested in top grail names, but most names I see is still very long, and the combination is just too complicated to me, especially I'm not from American or English speaking country guys. So I mean, moving forward with the name wrapper, with the contract of leasing domain coming out, there will only be good news for ENS, more and more bullish, no doubt, but that is only bullish for the good names. And try not to register any more, because it's already almost 2 million names out, and all the good ones, I highly suppose they are out already. So if you are still registering some new names, yes, maybe you can do so. But if you are doing that for an investment, maybe unfortunately you are only paying for the ENS official. So do the smart thing, and don't get too much of the names, and just keep your portfolio short. But yeah, quality always over quantity. Thanks much.
Gary?
Well, I mean, with that, there's about 120 million plus .com names registered, and I suppose for ENS, to leverage what Master's saying, he brings up a lot of really good points. But at the same time, it's also a matter of time, right? Like a really good name, like it might have, or a decent name might have like 3 words in it instead of one. And in 20 years or in 10 years, that might be worth, 6 figures potentially if it's the right combination of 2 or 3 words. It could be, more. It could be 7 figures. Um, so, if you are going to buy names that are more speculative into the future, then you have to have a longer runway into how much you need to have the upkeep for that name. So that's just something to keep in mind. You don't want to have a halfway decent name and then have it expire in 5 years and then see it sell, 2 years after that. A couple weeks ago in the .com world, someone just let expire 010.com. It's about $100,000 name, immediately sold for $120,000 from whoever picked it off the floor. But yeah, they just like fumbled the ball, and so you definitely have to keep that mindset. Beyond that, yeah, listen, we're not here, like yeah, we all need to make money and we all need to feed ourselves, but crypto isn't here because we have fast transactions. It's not here because everything is cheap, and it's nice when those things are true. But we're here because we have a revolutionary, immutable, publicly verifiable, collaborative, open and borderless, resistant to censorship, and decentralized blockchain system. This allows us to have peer-to-peer connection, peer-to-peer communication, peer-to-peer trust with value of real-world assets, let them be art or currency. And we can do this without having to have middlemen or websites, right? We can use decentralized infrastructure. We don't have to use ens.domains. We could use ens.eth, right on the blockchain. And so we're here for each other. We have more in relationship to each other than we have different. And the greatest chance of all of us making it is by all of us sticking together and fighting for freedom, and then will come money. If we fight for money, we lose freedom. If we fight for freedom, we have a chance of making money. That's the way that I see that situation, and I'm really proud to be up here with everybody in this room.
Awesome. 006, any final words, brother, before we call this one a day?
Hey man, just want to thank everybody. Like honestly, once again, like just had a good time hanging with you guys. Yeah, you guys are all legends. I'm super humbled to hang out with you guys and to honestly just learn. So my DMs are open to anyone. Like if you guys want to kind of chat or like try to connect, please do. I'll love that. Yeah, and thank you for like inviting me on the space.
Cool. Sounds good, man. So this is what we're gonna do here. Ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed the speakers, go ahead and give them a follow. But most importantly, I'm inviting everybody in this space right now. We're doing this thing again tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And with that being said, 5159 is out. Peace.